Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We are addressing a topic that impacts women and girls across our state. Period injustice, otherwise known as period poverty, which is the very real issue of girls missing school and other critical activities simply because they can't afford basic hygiene supplies. Allowing this to happen in 2020 is no longer acceptable. Periods are a normal bodily function, not an illness and not a source of shame. And it's time for us to supply period supplies in school bathrooms just as we supply soap and toilet paper. What makes me so excited about this initiative is that it is entirely student-led. We have with us students from West Haven, North Haven, Hamden, Westbrook, Ledyard, all over the state. And this is just a small representative sample of the hundreds, in fact, almost thousands of students across the state who are supporting this initiative. They brought the issue to us. They are educating us, and they are leading a statewide coalition to drive legislative change. I am so grateful to the leadership of the two committees that have sponsored this bill, both the Public Health and the Children's Committee, and to all the legislators who have expressed support. Because the students are not only educating us, they're offering a practical solution. Free period supplies where they are needed, in school bathrooms. This action alone would dramatically increase school attendance, personal confidence, and academic achievement, and it would send a strong message that Connecticut truly cares and is committed to its young people. So this press conference is going to be different from other press conferences because we're putting the students front and center, and they're going to tell you why this bill is so important to them. So I want to thank all the senators and reps who are here and the others who support this who aren't here, but I'm now going to turn the mic over to the real power in the room, the young people.
Good morning. My name is Charlotte Hallisey.
And my name is Amy Barrett. We are two high school students spearheading legislation addressing a critical issue related to gender equity and access, period poverty. Period poverty is defined as a lack of access and/or ability to afford menstrual hygiene products and the associated cultural stigma, institutionalizing generational gender-based discrimination and reinforcing harmful gender stereotypes. In the United States, 1 in 5 girls have left school early or missed school entirely due to lack of access to menstrual hygiene products.
In 21st century America, schools have an obligation to serve all students equitably. Every student deserves the reassurance that their school restrooms are outfitted with the necessities to accommodate their biological needs. Yet, for roughly half the United States student population, there is a glaring exception to this commitment: menstrual hygiene products. Providing these products in school bathrooms to address a fundamental biological process is no different than providing soap and toilet paper. Throughout this process, it is very important to think about how we would never think to discuss the budget for toilet paper or any other product required for a natural bodily function. This is a human right and should not be looked at as a financial issue.
When our efforts began, we launched a petition to gather support for this issue from individuals across the state. Today, we have over 1,200 signatures from supporters across Connecticut. After successfully petitioning for an ordinance requiring menstrual hygiene products be provided at no cost to students in our town's public middle and high school bathrooms, we turned our attention to the state level, first meeting with Senator Bergstein and subsequently Senator Abrams. Since that time, we have created a student coalition comprised of students in every county across the state who support the bill, some of whom are here today vocalizing their support, as well as partnered with many organizations who work nationally on issues involving gender equity and equality of opportunity.
But now, we need your support. It is time for Connecticut to continue to demonstrate its commitment to educational excellence and opportunity for all its students, joining New York, California, Illinois, and New Hampshire in passing similar legislation. Educational equity is essential to socioeconomic advancement. Gender-based discrimination harms us all. Please help show our nation that Connecticut recognizes this essential truth. Gender-based rights are human rights. Together, we can help end period poverty and achieve gender equality. Thank you all for your time and consideration.
Good morning. My name is Akia S. Collum, the proud president of the Connecticut State Conference NAACP Youth and College Division, proudly serving 11 youth and college chapters and units across the state of Connecticut. Every month, women experiencing poverty and homelessness struggle to find menstrual products, and discriminatory taxation placed on these products only exacerbate the problem. I'm excited to join people like Miriam from the Period Connecticut movement, as well as Amy and Charlotte for inviting us as well to be a part of it, as well as Senator Bergstein to sponsor this bill. I know that this is for students in Connecticut that have to miss school because they don't have access to products at home. They don't have access to products at school. They don't have money to afford certain products. This is not a luxury. It is a human right. And for us to strip away students from this health issue that we're addressing becomes, yikes. For us to strip away students from access is not their issue, is our issue, right? We are now facing times where students are now having to worry about other issues that now take them away from school. They take them away from participating in day-to-day activities, and that's not fair to them. So I think for us, it is important for us to now support this bill wholeheartedly, not with only showing up to a press conference like this, continue to support ourselves throughout the fight, because this is not the only day, and it will not only be the last day that will lead the charge for period poverty. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Miriam Khan and I'm the Connecticut State Lead of the Period Movement. And if there's something you want to know about me, I'm a 17-year-old activist from Hampden High School, but I'm also obsessed with talking about periods. And no, not the grammatical device. I'm talking about the bloody cycle that nearly half the population undergoes. It's quite an interesting and taboo topic, but it's really uncomfortable to talk about sometimes for menstruators and non-menstruators. Why? Because periods are gross, they're messy, and they're unpleasant. But what does this rhetoric and lack of conversation actually look like? It's a mother choosing between food and tampons. It's a homeless woman using cardboard and receipts to control her flow. It's a student deciding to stay home from school because her single pad won't last the day. Period poverty, the inability to afford menstrual products, is muting some of our community's most marginalized voices. It's our job as leaders and organizers, students and activists to break the silence and to fight for our fellow menstruators. It's why I work through my school's role as a Hampden Board of Education student representative to get rid of the 25-cent fee put on period products at my school. It's why I started Period Heroes, an initiative where teachers can put hearts on their door to show students they have products and that they care. It's why I took on the role as state lead of Connecticut Period Movement and led Connecticut's first ever period rally in October of last year. Our entire team stands here today. We're still organizing drives and events, pickups and drop-offs of over 4,000 products because we are ready to fight period poverty and support every single one of Connecticut's menstruators. I come to you all today with the exact same request. We are all fighting every single day. We spend hours on calls on trying to maximize our impact. But here's the thing. We're 16, 17, and 18 years old. We are still students. In fact, so many of us miss school to be here today. We shouldn't have to fight for a right. It's your job as legislators and public servants to take this on. You have the ability to amplify the voice of menstruators, to listen to the requests of students, and to validate the experiences of many. I urge you all to vote for this bill because no one should have to decide between paying for food or menstrual supplies. No student should have to decide between school or periods. No menstruator should have to decide between their body or humanity. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Farah Najari. I'm 17 years old and I'm from West Haven, Connecticut. So this year, I've gotten the pleasure to be able to run the Connecticut Period Instagram. And with my experience, although I'm not too fond of social media, I found myself being able to reach out to different types of people that have shared the same views that we all have, being teenagers. So within those groups, it was males like our wonderful teammate Justin Esmer here, older women, younger girls between the ages of 6 years old to 12, older men, fathers, asking for advice on how to bring up the topics about periods with their daughters, their wives, their sisters, all of the above pretty much. And within this experience, it made me very it almost filled a void of mine that I've had for a while, and that kind of stemmed from me being someone that had grown up in a disadvantaged community, and so I have first-handedly experienced not being able to afford pads, tampons, and therefore having to rationalize my stock in order to fulfill one period cycle. So instead of me being, or having the pleasure of being able to admire my natural body and the state that it's going through, I found myself almost panicking at the thought of what to do or who to ask, because it was always so embarrassing. So it's wonderful to think that we started off with 20 followers and now we're at a staggering of 500 and more on a daily, really. And so to think that all it took was a little bit of hope, and which really alleviated that sense of helplessness that we all really did feel in the beginning of our journey. But now it's turning into something so much bigger. And aside from all the drives that we've done and the events that we've spoken at and the wonderful people that we've met, like Senator Bergstein and Amy and Charlotte and Akia from the NAACP and the ACLU of Connecticut, and how much they've stood by us thus far, it's completely amazing. And to think that today we are all here to continue to prosper those ideas to where it could actually turn into a bill providing young girls with the products that they need, not only to fulfill their periods within schools, but perhaps outside of school as well, within their own homes. So thank you so much, and I am honored to be able to have spoken today. So yeah, thank you.
Before I start, I want to thank everyone here that's supporting me, as well as my team. My name is Justin Esmer, and I am a student activist from Hamden High School. My question is, why should students be paying for pads and tampons at the nurse's office? This growing topic becomes a bit more questionable and controversial every day as we continue to fight for the rights of those struggling and living in period poverty today. How ridiculous is it that students are required to pay a fee for necessities such as pads and tampons, in addition to having to deal with the negative stigma attached to it? Our role as a community is to understand and accept that these topics exist, as well as work towards creating a solution. My passionate team and I have been working with local doctors' offices, restaurants, and pharmacies to run period collection drives all over the state. So far, we've done a phenomenal job acquiring over 4,000 products so far, thanks to the generosity of these stores and the people who visit them as well. We have put a lot of time and energy into the work and will continue to strengthen our endeavors to end period poverty. This isn't just about women's rights. Matter of fact, it's about human rights. Both men and women, menstruators and non-submitters should care. We can't keep on driving inequality into the faces of our people, and that is inhumane. Ending period poverty is bigger than Connecticut. Matter of fact, bigger than the United States. There are middle school girls having to leave school or drop out in third world countries because of not being able to afford products. If we resolve this rule in Connecticut, it is only a step closer to curing this ugly plague of discrimination, as well as international period poverty. Connecticut is helping lead a movement that others in the world can follow to help also make a change. It is often rare to find a male advocating for a topic like menstruation. I sometimes receive the occasional laugh or joke because of the work I do, but I know that in the end, it comes down to one thing. If I support the advancement of human rights and the abolishment of product fees in the schools, are you, the chairman and chairwoman of the committee, willing to? Thank you.
you guys want to say anything? Okay. Well, Oh, hi, come on in, come on in. Okay, we have a late arrival. Come on in.
Good morning, everyone. I thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak on a topic so important as period poverty. My name is Lisbeth Van Boyer, and I currently live in Hamden, Connecticut. And I am so honored to be a part of the Connecticut Period team connected to the larger national period movement. As mentioned before, last fall we rallied to stand against period poverty and affirm the rights to have period products and have them easily accessible. As mentioned before by my fellow colleagues, it is a problem that we don't often talk about because it is so taboo. No one wants to talk about pads or periods or even bleeding, but it's this same sentiment that ignores and suppresses the voices and lives of menstruators across Connecticut. Because we continue to regard a topic as such taboo, it prevents the people who need those products from getting the help that they need. It targets the disadvantaged. I'm so glad for this opportunity to come here and speak today to affirm those rights and push for this bill, because it is so important that we as a state affirm the rights to own these products and affirm these identities and validate these narratives. Thank you very much.
So please join me in thanking what is the most unbelievable group of student activists who have organized around this issue, around the state, who are out there doing drives to collect supplies on their own. They have brought this issue and the solution to us, and I think as legislators, all we have to do is take it across the finish line. But I want to congratulate them. They're amazing. Would anyone like to add any comments? Senator Abrams.
Hi, I'm Senator Mary Darty Abrams. I represent the 13th District, and I'm co-chair along with Representative Jonathan Steinberg of the Public Health Committee. And we are also joined by our ranking member from the House, Representative Pettit. I think that we've all been interested in this piece of legislation since it was first brought before us this summer, and we began talking about it. For me, as a woman of my age, I applaud these young women for pointing out something that has been just and a man, thank you, I'm sorry, and the men, for everyone who's pointed out the discrimination that I so easily accepted through most of my life. And it is an honor to stand with them and to realize how much we often learn from all generations whose eyes are wide open and who want to make this a fair and equal world for us all. So this is one thing that I have taken on because I believe that it is something that we give young menstruating people, a subtle message, but a powerful message, that that's your problem. You need to take care of it. And we don't do that with other biological functions. I'm a former educator, an assistant principal at a high school. We supply toilet paper and soap to wash your hands and even tissues to blow your nose. So I think that this is just along those same lines. I agree that it should not be a financial issue. I've also worked on the vaping policy, and I've been very much interested in how local Board of Eds jumped ahead sometimes, jumped with us in working on vaping, and I invite any local Board of Eds who watch this, hear about this, and want to join us in passing their own legislation and policies, and so that we as a state can all join together and show our young people that we hear them, that we agree with them, and that we're going to change. Thank you.
Sure.
The Connecticut Association of School Business Officers says that most schools freely dispense these products in nurses' offices. So I don't know what the rebuttal is to that. Is that true? Is that not true? Does anyone have any sort of survey information that they have?
Can I answer that? Yeah, of course.
I would just say quickly that I wouldn't doubt that that is true, but I think that one of the young people spoke to that, in that makes it seem as though it's some kind of an illness or medical need when it's just a biological function. We don't ask people to go to the nurse's office to get toilet paper or to get soap to wash their hands. And so this, to me, is along those same lines. I think the other thing, again, as a former administrator, adults sometimes don't understand what that means to a young person to have to go to the nurse's office. to have to, sometimes it's not even located in a part of the building that's accessible to them, or reasonably accessible. And so I would say that although that's been the way that a lot of schools have handled it, it's time for a change. Did anyone else have something?
So initially at my school there was a fee, so I think there are a few schools, like you said, there might be some that don't. But first of all, having the fee on it, schools that have the fee, we have to recognize you don't pay for Band-Aids, you don't pay for other things. If you get hurt, you shouldn't be paying for menstrual supplies. That's number one. The second thing, as was already said, it's just you need to change the culture around it. You shouldn't need to go to the nurse's office to get a pad or a tampon. You should have it in the bathroom. It's a regular bodily need, and that's what we're trying to do with this bill. We're trying to affirm it as a free product, but we're trying to change the culture around periods, because we can't talk about period poverty if we can't talk about periods. And starting that conversation really leads us to understand the inequity. Having it in the nurse's office is great, but is it going to make sense for you to go to your teacher, go to the bathroom, say you need a pad, you come back to your teacher and you're like, I need to go to the nurses now? It's just a really bad system. We need to get rid of that extra step. We need to just make sure every student knows that menstrual products are a right.
And I know that Greenwich has done this in middle and high school. Do you know what the cost was to the Board of Education?
So right now Greenwich has just taken up 3 bids, so they haven't completely decided, but it should be in bathrooms within a couple of months. And what we found with them is it's really important you have it in the budget to have toilet paper and to have hand towels, and it's really important that this should be in the budget too. And it's not a financial issue, it's really a human right, and you don't discuss the budget with toilet paper, and you don't discuss the budget with soap and things like that, and so you shouldn't be discussing it now.
But I'll just add one note. Initial estimates were that it would cost about $2.50 per student. There are 158,941 girls enrolled in 5th through 12th grade public schools in Connecticut. So if you do the math, that's about $400,000 for the first year. And we have applied to the Partnership for Connecticut for a grant. This seems to be right aligned with their mission of finding ways to keep students engaged in school in Connecticut. So we hope they're listening. We hope that they will take our application under advisement and recognize that it's actually a low-cost, high-impact solution to keeping young people engaged in school.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you so much, everybody.